I am wildly tired right now. Why am I so tired? What did you do to me? I blame you, not you, the other guy. You know who I'm talking about. What's up, everybody? D-Men back. Welcome to a brand new video, and today we're going to be doing another Playmates unboxing. This time we will be checking out Artic Kong. Artic Kong, you say? No, actually they got it right. I was pretty sure that it was called Artic Kong, and I was gonna point out that it wouldn't be the Arctic Kong, it would be an Antarctic Kong. So what the heck? No, I actually did get it right. It is Antarctic Kong, so good job, Playmates. I was gonna dog on you, but you guys actually dogged on me. Way to ruin my bit. In this video, we're gonna be checking out Artic Kong. So starting out, of course, we'll cover the package really quick because it's basically the same package as all the others. The Godzilla vs. Kong package, Godzilla, Kong, banner, orange, blue. You've got a photo of Kong showing off his battle damage. On the side is Hong Kong with the little logo here. And on this side is the Godzilla vs. Kong logo itself. One quick touch I really like is the way that there's a gradient here with the white fading into the blue. We don't see that on the others. They're typically just like white or orange or something. So it's cool to see. They actually went all out. They actually did something different here to make it a much more Antarctic look, which I think is really cool. On the back, of course, you have a picture of Artic Kong posing in front of the ice, which is actually really nice. Again, the picture showing off the battle damage, and then a little bit of info so you can see upcoming releases. Interesting to note that they took off the Kong with the fighter jet. I'm still not convinced that's a real thing. I haven't read the comments on the other video yet, but as far as I'm aware, that's not a real thing. So there's just all the upcoming figures or the ones that have been released, and then a little description here. This is Artic Kong with Osprey. Unleash the seismic strength of mighty Kong and wield a double-bladed Osprey helicopter as a new weapon. I don't know why Kong would be wielding that as a weapon. He never did in the movie. It's just his pal, as he battles new dangers in the unfamiliar frozen tundra of Antarctica and prepare for the ultimate battle royale with Godzilla. I don't really recall Kong facing many adversities down there in Antarctica other than the cold. Alright, and I think we're ready to get this guy out. Starting out here, we've got the Osprey, and honestly, there's not much detailing to it. You can't really see much detailing in the sculpt, and because it's white, the camera really doesn't know how to focus on it. It's all overexposed and really blasted out, but you get the shape here, right? There's not really much purpose in me holding it up close other than to show that mine has little paint scuffs on it. It's a white figure, guys. The paint scuffs really stand out. The propellers can't spin. You can't put it into plane mode. It's just the general shape of an Osprey. It doesn't even really have like window detailing or anything. I mean, there's kind of a little bit, but not much. Also, if you've noticed, my like teeth and tongue are blue. It's because I had a popsicle right before recording. Probably shouldn't have done that. Here it is scaled next to Kong, little tiny, probably maybe movie accurate. You can imagine like a swarm of these carrying him to the Antarctic, which of course leads us to Kong himself. And wow, look at that with the battle damage from a distance, given the white all over him and everything, it really stands out. Now, there's not really much detailing here inside of the battle damage, just a couple like lines that go through it to give it some texture, and then of course the hinge here for the arm. I just don't get the point. I don't get it. But at least we've got a rubber arm piece and a rubber piece here for the battle damage, so it should blend in much better. This is the same battle damage piece that came on the previous Kong releases as well. And look at that from a distance. I mean, you can barely tell where it is. It's here. You can barely tell. Up close, you can tell much easier, but you're not going to really be looking at it up close. I think the reason you can tell is because it doesn't have any snow on it, so it stands out a little more. But that leads us to Kong himself. Now, ultimately, I'm just going to say right off the bat, I'm not certain that this figure justifies its existence. Clearly, I get that Playmates wants to pump out as many variants as possible of these guys because money, that's always nice. But does it justify itself? Ultimately, does this justify it? No, not really. I will give them credit where credit is due. They at least changed up the sculpt a little bit. It's not a reused sculpt from the previous Kong. It's got a different headpiece. It's kind of hard for me to tell if anything else is different about him. I think he's the same other than the head, but he might be different because the chest looks a little different. That might be a paint thing, but I think he is different. Talking about the paint, we can run through it fairly quick. Here's our boy King Kong. He's kind of a dullish grayish brown, of course, because they never know how to paint them brown. It kind of runs throughout the whole body. However, unlike usual, this is contrasted with a lot of white. In the chest here, you've got a much grayer chest, and then again, these tan scars across the chest, which is, it's good detailing. I like that they add those. nose. The sculpt overall is fairly well done, with a lot of these ripples underneath the chest here, and then you've got the abs in the stomach, and even a belly button indent, so good job Playmates for those details. I really like the new head sculpt. I think it's much better than their previous one. Not only does he look more movie accurate, he looks more like the MonsterVerse Kong, but I just think it's a cooler head overall. Even if he's not roaring, he looks a little better, which I appreciate. You've got those nice brown eyes and the black pupils, so he looks pretty good. That's actually, like I said, it's a very good face sculpt. Moving throughout, you've got all the limbs covered in snow, so going into his arms, these arms are covered in snow. You can see it fades into itself, so it doesn't just have a harsh set where it then suddenly is covered in snow. Of course, this hand is in a more open palm grip, while this one is in a fist. They both feel pretty nice. They are both nice and rubber. You can see there's not much snow on his chest, but it kind of starts towards the top of his chest, goes into his shoulders, and then onto the top of his head. So it's not really on his face. There's a little bit of splatter on his face here, which is kind of cool. And then it goes onto the back of his head and all throughout his back. Now, it is hard to tell on this hard plasticky chest piece. Like I said, the limbs of Kong are rubber, which is why they look better generally. They have much better texturing overall, and I think the paint is applied better as well. You have a nice and pretty subtly fade into the white of the limbs, whereas on the back, it's kind of hard to tell what's what when the light glares on it like this. But overall, it's generally towards the top of his shoulders, and then it fades out as it goes down towards his butt. There is good sculpting as well. It's the same sculpt as always, so it's got these nice ripples through the back and the nice fur patterning, which I appreciate that they go for. And then we see a similar pattern here in the feet, where as it gets closer to the feet, there's more white. On the feet themselves, it's actually more pronounced up front. You can see it starts at the top of the legs and goes into the bottom of the feet, where the feet become completely covered in white. From afar, I mean, yeah, he really does look like he took a tumble through the snow, and it's good, you know, good job. Like I said, I just don't know if this figure justifies its need to exist. Yes, Kong does go to Antarctica in this movie, but does anybody really need a Kong with snow on him? I like it. I like the variety. I think it's cool. I do, like I said, appreciate the new face sculpt. It is another rubber head, which is nice. Not as breakable or annoying as the hard plastics. Also has better detailing in it. Like, they do a generally good job with him. Playmates seems to know how to do Kong now, which is good. It's just like, I don't know if this justifies its need to exist. Yeah, Kong does go to the Arctic. He does get covered in snow, but is it enough to warrant a variant figure? Probably not. As far as articulation goes, he's not much different from the other Kongs. You've got a wide range of articulation. You can do a lot of kicks and get into some really cool poses, like here he is doing, like, I don't know, he's getting ready to do a pretty awesome kick here. He is about to jump up and ruin your day. Or he'll do a flying helicopter. Overall, I do like the posability of this guy. I like that you can get him in all these poses and you can really do some stuff with him, which is a lot of fun. I like that Playmates does that. Also, really quickly while I can before I get into the rest of it, I do like the sculpting on the feet. I like the poses of them. They look very gorilla to me, and I like these toes. Although they're not individually sculpted, they kind of blend together at a certain point. They do have different tips, which I appreciate. But yeah, as far as articulation goes, you've got 2 for the knees. I'm going to say 4 for the thighs because you can go out to the sides and up. Those are 2 different joints. 4 for the shoulders for the same reason. 2 for the elbows. 2 for the hands, although the hands do come pretty stiff on this one. And then 1 for the head. In total, I count 15 points of articulation. Here he is next to his Kong brethren, and you can see that they're basically the same sculpt. They've got the same hand positions and everything. This Kong could just as easily wield the axe. The only real difference is in the face, and like I said, I vastly prefer this face. Actually, overall, kind of prefer this paint job too. I mean, yeah, he is covered in snow, but he looks more like MonsterVerse Kong. He's browner here. This one's got like much grayer, blacker look. This doesn't look like the MonsterVerse Kong to me. This looks like the MonsterVerse Kong. So I'd say actually, if he didn't have the white on him, he'd be the superior figure. I'd still go with this because it's got the axe and it's got a little bit more of a standard paint job though. This is pretty solid. Better head sculpt, better paint on the body, pops more from a distance. Not bad. Oh, sorry, Snow Kong, you didn't have the axe. When I started that fight, I didn't know it was going to be a massacre. But there you go. You got the 2 next to each other. They're the same size, basically the same sculpt. They look good next to each other. I set all my Kongs and Godzillas up in a war against each other. That's how I display them. So I'm sure they'll look great together going to war side by side. And speaking of Godzilla, here's Snow Kong sized up next to his ancient enemy, Godzilla. The 2 of them going at it. Because, you know, Team Kong, basically. I own Team Kong. I was Team Kong before it was cool to be Team Kong. I'm still Team Kong long after it was cool to be Team Kong. And there's the 2 of them together. Nice. I actually like this toy a lot. Like I said, it doesn't really justify its need to exist, but to be honest, that doesn't really matter once I have it, and I have it. I wouldn't say that this is a must-get. I'd say that as far as Kongs go, this is going to be one of your last stops. Probably not your first stop, probably not your second stop, because I can think of multiple others. Like I said, I would get this Kong first. Maybe if you want the battle roaring Kong, you go for that. I get the want for the neon Kong. I haven't really talked about him yet. I don't like him. I get the want for it. This one's the one that it's like, oh, when I saw it on shelves, it's like, oh, they made a toy of that? Weird. But that being said, they executed that very well. It's actually a really well done figure. It genuinely looks better to me than the original release, which is why I would give this guy a solid 7 out of 10. Although I don't think this toy needs to exist, they did a great job executing that. It's like we got strong execution for a weak premise, and that balances out to me. I actually really like this guy. I would recommend him to collectors, and I would recommend him to people who want multiple Kongs. Go for it. I personally like this one. I haven't even opened the neon one, and I like it more than that. I like it more than the original with the axe. Like I said, you can give him the axe. I just think that as far as a figure justifying its need to exist, the original does, because it's the original. It's the standard base Kong from the movie, the way he looks throughout pretty much the whole thing. I mean, the color's wrong, but it's generally speaking, that one makes sense to exist. This one, I mean, it doesn't, but he actually, I mean, it looks cool with the axe. The axe looks like it should have some snow on it because it stands out as being particularly not snowy now. But like I said, I mean, this is kind of a better Kong toy. It looks cooler. It pops a little more. Got a better face. I think I'm happy giving it a 7 out of 10. Good articulation too. That's something that I need to keep praising Playmates for. Just because I said it once in one of my old reviews doesn't mean I can not say it again, because each time I review these, I have to review it on a new basis. Great articulation for a low-end figure, especially for Playmates. This is a really great job with all the articulation they've given Kong here. For a $10 toy, I'm really impressed with these. They do a great job with Kong. In my opinion, they do much better with Kong than they do with Godzilla. It's always interesting to go to different Walmarts and see who's selling. Sometimes I see a lot of Godzilla on the shelves, sometimes I see a lot of Kong, and sometimes I see a barren wasteland where they used to have Godzilla and Kong and they're now all sold out. That's always the best feeling. There he is. Actually, he looks really awesome holding the axe. There they are together now. The positions have switched. That's classic revenge, friends. Alright, I think that'll about do it for this one. If you want to support the Patreon, you can using the link in the description below, so go check that out. It goes a really long way towards supporting the channel and making sure I can keep doing videos like this for you guys. Through the Patreon, you can get early access to content, access to Discord community, and more, so go check it out. Alright guys, thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed, I'll see you guys next time for the next one. D-Man, out.